Okay, we have an ASSA Twin Exclusive, and usually when you think Twin Exclusive, you think the 851 keyway, but this is a 5700 series, so 5701 Twin Exclusive. And from what Mo tells us, this is only available in the Baltic area, and it's super rare. And we'll see what's so different about this one when we get into gutting later. It has to do with the sidebar and the side pins. But just like other twins, it has 6 top pins. These have the barrel spool drivers with the matching counter milling on the plug, and it has 5 sidebars on the left, 5 side pins on the left that interact with a sidebar there. So to pick it, first we need a tensioner. So I have a piece of music wire here that I'll use to tension it, and we'll start with the top pins. I'm going to actually rotate it a bit more so I can get to it. And I found with this one, the barrels don't have quite as bad of that kind of tapering effect as other twins have. So at first what we're going to do is we're just going to go through and try to get these guys up into either set or into the counter milling. So it felt like 4 and 1 had like a little bit of that taper feeling. 2 might be bouncing off the top already. So if you hear anything, it's just these pins are kind of binding, and they feel kind of like tapered. You push on them, they let go. That one I think is 3, gave a little click as if it dropped into some counter milling. 2 is also kind of binding up. 1, we might be up there already. So like I said, it's not so bad as far as the counter milling effect on this one. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start with a bit of jiggle testing. So 6 and 5 felt like jiggling. 4 feels like it might be jiggling. 3 feels like it's binding. Got a click from 3. It's jiggling a little now. 2, got a click from it. Still feels like it's binding. Another click from it. Feels like it's jiggling. 1 felt like it traveled up, so 1 feels like it's jiggling still. So let's see. 6 had like a little taper effect. Is now just jiggling a lot. 5 had a little bit of taper effect. Has a lot of spring. Both 6 and 5 have a lot of spring to them. 4 feels like it has a jiggle. 3 had a little bit taper effect. Now it's jiggling. 2 jiggling. 1 a little bit of jiggle there. Go back to the back. 6 feels like it's binding at this point. Click from it. Now it has a bit of a jiggle. 5 feels like a little bit of jiggle. 4 feels like it is binding at this point. Hard to tell. 4 feels like it's binding at this point. Click from it. Now it has a bit of a jiggle. So basically you're just going to each pin and repeating this process. 3 feels like a little bit of a jiggle. 2. 1 is hard to tell because the front pin is always a little bit tougher than the rest. So if you have a high set on 1, it can be a lot more difficult. Not sure what I feel from 1. 1 seems to be binding, in my opinion. I'm going to try giving it a little bit of a nudge. Got a click from it. And now I definitely feel a bit of spring from it. I might have dropped something else in the meantime, though. 2. A little bit of movement from 3. Kind of like a taper effect. 4. Kind of a taper effect. Jiggle. 5. Had a little bit of a taper effect. Very light jiggle. 6. Feels like it's binding again. Click from it. Still feels a little bindy. Let me see if I can. Another click from it, and now I got a decent jiggle from 6. 5 is feeling bindy again. Okay, go check 6 again. A little click from 6, feels better jiggle now. 5 feels jiggly. 4, jiggly. 3. I didn't mark the plug. Good thing to do is mark like a line on the plug. That'll tell you when you have a little bit of plug movement, so you can tell if maybe you're set. I think that most of these are either most of these are set. If they're not, we'll come check them again in a bit. We are gonna check the side pins, see if they're binding yet. So there is this little like anti-drill that you can drop into in the side. So that's not the first pin. It threw me off a little bit at first. All right, 1 feels like it's jiggling. 2. This can be difficult. I did put little marks on the side here that will help me find them, but they're mostly worn off, and I can only see it if I rotate it more. So let me see. Because it can be hard to feel when you're under a... So the first one feels loose. Second pin feels loose. Third pin. Fourth pin. Fifth pin. They all feel fairly loose still, so it means that the top is not done yet. So, and 6 has a fair bit of jiggle. 5. I feel like it's jiggling, but it might be just me sliding around along the pin itself. Give it a little pressure. No, it doesn't seem to be moving. 4. A lot of times with these barrels, it's difficult to overset them, so you can give them a little pressure sometimes. The risk you have there is that if it starts to go into the overset, it can drop a lot of the other pins. All right. But this pin 4 doesn't seem like it's moving at all. I got a little click from it. Got a little bit more jiggly. So yeah, apparently my top pins are not far enough along to go after the side pins. Sorry, it's just me like rubbing off pins, rubbing off wording. 3. The kids are so loud right now. Can't hear anything. Okay, 1 and 2 are jiggling a lot. 3 is just jiggling a little, I think. Or is it... Start from the back. 6. Little click from 6. Seems to be jiggling. 5 seems to be jiggling quite a bit. You know what? Maybe I'll get better feedback with a little bit thicker of a pick. 4. This one doesn't seem to be giving me much. That's a little better. I think I felt a little bit of plug movement too. 2. 1. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Yeah, I think I'm ready to check the side pins again because I felt a little bit of plug movement. That might have been all that was left. So 1. Not really. 2. 3 feels like it was binding a little, maybe a little plug movement as I went under it, and I can see that it is jiggling, so I think 3 might be in a gate, a true gate. 4 5 just to see if we can get them all in like some sort of gate. Come back to 1 again. Oh, I felt a little bit of plug movement as I slid my pick out, so I must have got everything into maybe some sort of false gate or something. Indeed, 1 it now feels like it's binding pretty hard. So I'm going to let off tension just a little. You can drop a lot of stuff with these sidebars. So I got springiness, like jiggle from 1 as if it's in a true gate. 2, still binding. Try to get up higher, let off tension just a little. You can drop side pins like crazy in this one, so they love to ping pong a lot. I only picked it once real quick as soon as I got it. So I only have maybe like 30-40 minutes experience on this guy. 4 feels like it's still binding. Try to let off a little tension. You can hear stuff dropping, so let off tension. I expect to drop a bunch of stuff trying to get this open. 5 doesn't seem to be binding. 4 I lifted up, come back forward a little. 1 still in its gate. 2 dropped all the way down. See if I can get him back up again without letting off too much tension if possible. I want to try to keep the tension at the point where these guys will move. I heard a bunch of stuff sound like it fall. 2 feels okay. 3 feels like 4 feels like it fell. 5. 4 is that 4? No, it's 3. It feels set. 4 feels like it's the binder. Oh, I got him up a bit higher. Don't know if he's set yet. 5. Come back to beginning. 1, still set. 2, drop down some. Got 2 up a little. Let's see. 1 set. 2 seems set. 3, 4, 5. 1 feels set. 2, it dropped down a bit, but I was able to get that up a lot easier this time. 3 feels set. 4 feels binding. And 5 feels binding. 5 feels set. Back to the beginning. 1 feels set. I think 2 feels set. 3 feels set. 4 feels binding. Feels set. 5 open. Okay, so a little bit of ping-ponginess around the sidebar, but now we get to see what is going on in there. So we'll put on some autofocus. Zoom out a bit. I don't know if this one's been picked on video yet. The only appearance of this so far, I think, has been Mo showing it on the LPU channel, showing this lock. So, and he showed the insides of it. So if you've seen that, this is no surprise. But if you haven't, it's got a really cool sidebar in it. All right, let's take a look inside. It's open, obviously. Key still works. So with the sidebar, I felt I had to kind of hold it close to the point where the pins are about to drop, not push them all the way into so the sidebar dug into the gates. Kind of just held them right on the edge as I'm working through them to reduce the number of ping pongs that were going on. Because otherwise we would have been sitting here for a long time trying to get it open. All right, take that out, catch the sidebar. All right, so here's the interesting part, is this sidebar. So if we look at this, I'll turn it around. If you can see there, each of those sidebars has like a little serration. It's like a double lip for each sidebar, for each cylinder. Usually there's only one lip there, so this has a double, right? So it's got like a little serration, and it bites pretty hard. These pins, you have a really hard, you can't really bully them. They get really stuck if you turn the tension. That's why I had to keep the tension focused right around where they're just barely binding. Otherwise, they would have bit in really hard, and you wouldn't have been able to move them. All right, so top pins, and then the interesting part is going to be looking at those side pins. All right, we're going to start at 6. Side pin key pins are all standard, so nothing special for oversetting. Again, it is not super easy to overset. Dang it. And the last one, there we go. And then side pins. Now the side pins are all the same, so the bitting is determined by the sidebar that we saw. There are different height cuts on the sidebar. So those are all the same, and we'll take a look at those in just a second. Look at that. Look at that. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. The top has counter milling for barrels, and the way you can tell that is that each cylinder has two little serrations, 1, 2, in each of these chambers, 1, 2, and what that'll do is catch those drivers really well. We'll see those in a second. The side pins look like this, and you can see they have like a bunch of serrations on there, and those catch both of those grooves on the sidebar, and then it's got this extra wide true gate that whole, because it has to fit the two lips of the sidebar down into there, right? So, and it's got this little V shape on the bottom of the pin. So when you're working under that, it feels a little bit different than some of the other twin side pins that are out there. So the top is just, I actually haven't removed these before, so I don't know what's going on here, but they're just standard ASSA barrels. I'm guessing that they would be matched to get balanced pin stacks, so the short drivers will go with the tall key pins and so on. So far, 4, 5, yeah, it looks like they're, hard to tell, looks like they're different heights. 6, yeah, it looks like they're different heights there. And then springs. I guess they're held in with quite a bit of lubricant there. One, 2, flew over here. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Nothing special going on inside the plug. This is so 5700 series. This is a 5701, and the 1 refers to that it's a Scandinavian oval. So the different numbers will mean different things according to what Mo just told us. He's the guy who knows everything ASSA. Has a website, assamo.com, that has a lot of great information on all these barrel spool drivers. What they'll do is they'll catch in that counter milling there, and that's kind of, it catches it there, and it's hard to bump it up. And the jiggle tests on these are very, very slight, so it's difficult to tell between a binding pin and a set pin. But that is the ASSA Twin Exclusive 5701 Baltic edition, whatever it's called. All right, thanks.